Welcome to this video review of an indoor growing system that in some ways is similar to the Aerogarden system and in other ways is very different. This is the Greenjoy indoor growing system and it was sent to me by the manufacturer to try out and review. If you know me, I love trying out new things, so how could I say no? This is not an endorsement of the product. You can make your own decision after seeing this video. In this video, I'll show you how the system works, and we'll talk about the pros and cons of this system over the Aerogarden. First, let's see what we get in the package. As is typical with Amazon, the box comes in a box, and then that box, the Greenjoy box, had another box inside with a pull handle. Very thoughtful. Oops. Now I have to put Humpty Dumpty back together again. This definitely could have been packaged better. Alright, let's see what we have here. An instruction booklet. Actually, two instruction booklets. One product instruction booklet and the other a cultivation booklet. Then we have an installation guide and a packing list, which is good because after all the content spilled out, it would be nice to know if I have all the pieces. So I put all the pieces back together again and then checked it against the packing list to make sure I had all the pieces. So this is supposed to have 15 planting caps and 15 planting baskets to fit into those caps, which makes sense since this kit will grow up to 15 plants at a time. Next we have a growing tray to germinate the seeds. Note, the kit does not come with seeds, you have to provide your own. Let's put that aside for the moment and work on putting the unit together. Here we have the top panel, which contains the LED grow lights and also a fan. This is a full spectrum light with 196 diodes. The system turns the lights on for 10 hours and then off for 14 hours. And there is a fan that circulates the air, which is always a good thing. And here is the base of the unit. Here are the sides and the power plug. Here is another one of the sides. This one has a pump connected to it. You can see the number 2 here and the number 3 here. This is helpful in assembling the box since all you have to do is match the numbers. And here is side number 4 and side number 1. A piece of air tubing that's actually used to siphon off the water from the tank when you want to change out the water. And here are 2 bottles of nutrients labeled A and B. More about that later when I mix up the nutrients. And that's it. That's everything in the box. Now let's go ahead and put this together. Starting with step number 1, find the corner of the base that's labeled with number 1 and then the corresponding side with the number 1 and just snap it into place. Number 2 has the air pump piece attached to it. Next we will install sides 3 and 4. And now we're done with step 1. The pump has suction cups on the bottom and fits in the small rectangular box in the base. So position it in that box and press down. Okay, done. Now we're ready for step 2, placing the top on, the top which contains the LED panel. The socket side where the pump is connected has to match the socket side on the top of the panel. Lay the top on gently with the circular button on the top panel facing front. Once the top is oriented properly, then go around to each side and snap the top in. Now we're ready for step 3, inserting the planting panel. That was easy. Now we are ready for step 4, aligning the safety fasteners. These are what the safety fasteners look like. There are 2 of them to fit into the slots in the back wall. I don't think they're necessary, only if you have more than 1 unit and you want to stack them. I ended up not installing the safety fasteners since I had a hard time getting them to stay in. Now we're ready to connect the power cord to the port side of the grow box. There are 2 ports in case you have more than 1 unit and you want to daisy chain them. Plug it in and we have power. The circular button in the front is now illuminated and flashing at me. You get a grow tray to start your seedlings in. It comes with 16 small square sponges, a pair of tweezers to pick up the seeds, some green caps to cover the grow holes you're not using, some planter labels, and a small plastic measuring cup which you will need to measure out the nutrient solutions. Okay, the next step is to put the planting caps over the grow holes. There are 15 of them. Next, the planting baskets fit squarely in each square hole. And of course, there are 15 of those. Now for the fun part, planting the seeds. As I said before, you have to provide your own seeds. I would suggest a variety of lettuce seeds since they grow pretty quickly and they're relatively small compared with tomato or cucumber plants. This unit is not deep enough to keep a tomato plant happy, in my opinion. But for lettuce and herbs, this should be just fine. You get 16 squares of a spongy material, soak those squares in water, and plant it with your seeds. Here you can see me planting these with different varieties of lettuce, and I planted 2 seeds in each hole just in case they wouldn't all germinate. I planted a couple of basil seeds as well. By the way, it's a lot easier to use your fingers than the tweezers. And I wrote down on a small piece of paper all the seeds I planted so that I would know once they germinated which were which. Here we are about 10 days later and most of the seeds have germinated, but there are no roots coming out from the bottom. So I decided to let them sit for a bit longer before putting them in the grow box. Big mistake! The sponges started to grow algae and most of the seedlings ended up dying. So I was back to square one. I needed to replant. But since I didn't have any additional little sponge cubes, the kit only comes with the 16 you saw, I used what I usually use to germinate seeds, cubes of rock wool. These are made from spun stone and are inert, a great way to start seeds. So I replanted in the rock wool. I decided to add some parsley and dill to the mix of basil and lettuce. Here are the rock wool cubes. They are very easy to use. Just make sure they are saturated with water first and then plant the seeds. 2 weeks later, I have some nice healthy seedlings ready to be planted into the grow box. Now remember, I didn't use the white sponge squares that came with the kit. Here you can see them again. The algae has really taken over and some of the seedlings died, but the cubes were the perfect size for the planting cups that came with the kit. And so I'm going to need to cut down my rock wool cubes to fit into these planting cups. These rock wool cubes are 1.5 inch cubes, so next time I will buy smaller 1 inch cubes to fit into this grow box. It's easy to cut the rock wool with a pair of scissors. Just snip down the sides, being careful not to cut into any part of the plant. And once it's cut, it fits nicely into the square holes of the planting cup. Then the planting cup or basket goes into the holder, and then that fits into one of the holes on the planting panel. Okay, I'm finished cutting up all the excess rock wool, and all 15 plants are in their growing holes. Actually, one of the basil seedlings was doing okay in the white sponge cubes the kit came with, so I put that into a planter hole along with my rock wool cubes. Now on to the next step, which is to mix up a nutrient solution and fill the reservoir with the hydroponic solution. The kit comes with solution A with a green label and solution B, the blue label. The directions are to fill a container with 1 liter of water, then add 10 milliliters of solution A to it, and then add 1 liter of water to the container, and then add 10 milliliters of solution B. That will give you 2 liters, and since the tank holds 8 liters of water, you'll need to do this 4 times. That's a lot of mixing. A side note, I live in the United States and we measure liquids in fluid ounces, not liters. So I found a measuring cup in my kitchen with a 1/4 liter marked off, and so I was able to measure 4 of those for a liter. And then the kit came with this small plastic measuring cup to measure the milliliters or ml. So I measured out 1 liter of filtered water into a gallon jug, poured in 10 milliliters of solution A, then measured out another liter of filtered water, and then added 10 milliliters of solution B. This I added to the tank of the Greenjoy unit, and I did this 4 times for a total of 8 liters. It would be nice if this was labeled in ounces for United States consumers, but it isn't, so you need to adapt. Alright then, the unit is filled with plants and hydroponic water, and now it's ready to be turned on. I actually turned it off manually before I went to sleep, and then turned it on manually again when I got up in the morning, so that the internal clock in this unit would then time it from that point 10 hours on and 14 hours off. So what are the advantages and disadvantages of this unit over the Aerogarden? Well, for one thing, the Aerogarden comes with its own seed pods, which can be seen as an advantage or a disadvantage depending on if you want to grow your own seeds or you truly want a kit that contains everything you need. Most of the Aerogarden units are also much smaller, which again is a good thing if you don't have a lot of space, but not good if you have the space and want to grow more plants. This unit is also very simple, which could be good or bad also. The Aerogarden has more settings to learn, and some of the units are even smart units and can connect to an app that lets you monitor the unit. This grow box is very simple, one button for on and off. The price is currently around $175 if you use the coupon option on Amazon. Just click here where it says coupon. You can definitely build your own box for much less money. I have a video showing you how to do that. But if you don't want to fuss with that, or if you're looking to give somebody a gift, this could be an interesting option. Here we are 2 weeks later, and you can see the lettuce is doing nicely. I also planted some parsley, some mint, some basil, and some dill. Here you can see the roots. I don't know why, but I always get a kick out of looking at the roots. Something you can't do when you're growing in soil. The roots look nice and white, so no algae growing down there. And here we are a couple of days later. It's amazing how quickly everything is growing. I should have some nice delicious lettuce and herbs to harvest in about 5 weeks. I hope you enjoyed this video and thank you for watching. Bye!